going live, and you are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Philadelphia Eagles. And why the Philadelphia Eagles 0-16? Because they suck. The Philadelphia Eagles suck, and the Philadelphia Eagles will always suck. The Philadelphia Eagles suck. And welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening? Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I greatly appreciate it. It means the world to me. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here, shoot my mouth off about 30 minutes. A lot of times it goes longer than that, but I'm going to try at least 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. I usually check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So if something does pop up in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. All right. So please feel free and fire away. All right. Before I get started, anybody wants to help support my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me. I have a description box below. There's a top link. Okay. It takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. All right, the first one's called the Saquon, the second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third one is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. Okay, there's loyalty badges. There's 8 different loyalty badges. Now, what it is there's the 8 different loyalty badges. Each one's a Giants helmet. The older the Giants helmet is, the longer you've been a supporter of my channel. Now, if you get the leather helmet associated with your name, you've been a supporter of my channel for a long time, okay? But so there's 8 different loyalty badges. As of right now, there's 4 emojis. Eventually, there'll be a 5th one coming up, but right now there's 4 of them. You can use them, I guess, in the chat box, or if you're going to put a comment or something like that. I had them made up on Fiverr. Every time I look at them, it cracked me up. They really did. They're pretty funny. But so if anybody wants to help support my channel, it's a top link in the description box. Go there, and it would, once again, it would mean the absolute world to me. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put out a video, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? As of right now, I just went over the 5,400 subscriber mark. What did I start the day with? I started the day with like 5381. So I've gone up 19. I've gone up 24 so far today. 24 subscribers. Usually, I mean, it seems like since the season's over with, I'm going up like 20 or 30 or so a day. So far I've gone up 24. Yeah, the day still has a few hours left in it, because I think that the day goes into like 3 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, I'm here in South Jersey, so I have it's like another 4.5 hours. So I might get up to maybe 30 subscribers for the day. But I mean, whatever it was, like 2 weeks or so ago, somewhere around there, I went over the 5,000 subscriber mark. I couldn't believe it. I didn't think it was any way possible I'd have 5,000 subscribers, and I'm over 5,400. Absolutely amazing. So if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. Thank you. And if you're not, as I said, hit that bell, the bell icon and the subscribe button below. You got nothing to lose, right? It's free of charge. And then also, finally, in the description box below, there's 2 links, 2 Facebook links. One takes you to a group, Facebook group. It's the top one. Right now, we have over 2,100 members. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Basically, everything's called this pretty much the same. It's New York Giants, the Gridiron. My YouTube channel, the Facebook group, and the Facebook page, which I'm going to cover in a minute, they all basically say the same thing. It's the New York Giants. It's so an idiot like me, I can remember. I try to remember too many different things. Really boggles my brain down. So, as I said, right now we got over 2,100 members. I try to put at least 10 different things in here every day. I said, whether it's just a picture, a post. I mean, in here, there's one of the last things I put in there was one of the fans, the Eagles, never forget the time when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. A fan bent down and ate horse shit off the street. I mean, and it shows a picture of he's got shit in his mouth. I mean, it just goes to show you what kind of fans they have there in Philadelphia. But I mean, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I said, well, I'm just posting like a picture. It's got some stats on it, whether I'm putting a video on there, whether it's a picture. I had a picture of, I think, Lawrence Taylor I put up there yesterday or early this morning. It's his birthday. Okay, today's his birthday. I'm always putting stuff up there. And the other thing is when you become a member, right, the members can post stuff in here as well, too, right? So it's just not me. It's members are putting stuff in here. So there's a ton of stuff going in there every day. And then also the second link below, okay, the second Facebook link takes you to a page. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. But this one's a page. Right now we have 577 people who like it and over 2,100 people are following it. And it's the same thing. I'm the administrator, so I'm the only one who's able to post in here, but it's the same thing. It's 7 days a week. I'm always putting stuff in there. Right? I'm spending like an hour and a half at least every day. Okay, putting stuff in the page and in the group. We have videos and there's a little article here. Eli Manning talking about why Daniel Jones deserves a long-term contract. There's a quote here from Joe Shane. There's a picture of end of an era, guys that retired. I mean, like Rivers and, Roethlisberger and Manning and Breeze and Brady and the other Manning. Matty Ice is going to be going bye sometime soon. So I mean, kind of an end of an era with like those quarterbacks. Just all kinds of stuff going. There's a picture of Jack Gregory here. I can't remember what year this would be. He's playing the Rams. Could have been could be 70. Well, it can't be 70. It had to be. It could be 76. They played the Rams in L.A. It could be 1976, but just all kinds of stuff. So between the page and the group, there's over at least 20 different things I'm putting in there every day. So I mean, if you go to the page, like it and follow it, and go to the group, okay, and become a member, and you get a ton of New York Giants info every day. And if you're not satisfied, as I always say, if you're not satisfied, you get your money back guaranteed. All right. Well, all that stuff said and done. We got. I mean, Wink is, things seem to be heating up there pretty well with the Colts for him. I've been kind of hearing like little things here and there that he's kind of like a little bit of a favorite maybe to get the job there. But let's not have good old Kafka. I mean, I'm not sure, okay, with some of these jobs, like some of them that might have to wait like an extra week. Because if they want to talk to anybody on the Eagles staff, or they want to talk to anybody on the Chiefs staff, like Eric Bieniemy, right? I mean, I'm kind of wondering. I mean, the freaking knowledge that must be in that guy's head must be. I mean, I'm sure his head must be like getting ready to explode. I mean, I'm really kind of. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with him. I mean, it's just. Why he can't get a job is kind of baffling me. I said that being with Coach Reed for all these years, right? I mean, he's got to have a ton of knowledge in his head. I mean, I don't know what the heck it is. A lot of some of these things you're just never going to find out, possibly. But I mean, like anybody on the Eagles staff, anybody wants to talk to any of those guys, they got to wait till after the Super Bowl's over. So, but I mean, you got. There was a thing I was seeing that Kafka, he's got a second interview with the Cardinals, right? Kafka is interviewed for 4 of the 5 openings that were available in the cycle. The Texans, the Panthers, the Colts, and the Cardinals. Ian Rappaport from the Rap Sheet reported Saturday evening that Kafka, the 35-year-old, who just completed his first year as a Giants offensive coordinator, will get a second interview with the Cardinals. Interesting. Arizona hired Monty Ossenfort as their general manager in mid-January. And the Cardinals have also requested a second interview with, this is interesting here, with Cincinnati Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, all right, for the head coaching job. Anarumo, was the Giants defensive back coach should have been Shermer in 2018. 2019, Anarumo left, and since 2019, he's been the defensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals, where they've done a very, very good job. I mean, obviously they went to the Super Bowl. They went to the championship game this year. I mean, he's done a very good job, Lou Anarumo, with, he's not littered with Hall of Famers. Okay. He even has Eli Apple there, right? Mr. Mouth himself. So, Lou Anarumo has done a very good job with, it's kind of like what Kafka. Kafka's got, we got like a banged up offensive line. We got like a mash unit as far as wide receivers in there, right? We don't have a star-studded tight end or anything like that. And we've certainly improved our numbers without question. I'm going to go over some of those numbers in just a minute here. But, he's done, Kafka's done quite a bit with not much, right? But Anarumo's done some nice things as well, too, especially as a defensive coordinator. Now, the thing is with Anarumo, he was, as I said, he was the defensive back coach here for Shermer for the first year, 2018 and 2019, so he became the defensive coordinator. Now, so he's done it over over 4 years, and he's been around Anarumo. He's done some very nice things, but as far as the defensive coordinator, he's done it for more years. Kafka just came in here for 1 year, okay, and has just done it for 1 year. That's why I'm kind of like a little surprised. If Kafka's kind of like that quarterback coach 1 year, then the offensive coordinator the next year, and boom, he's a head coach. It just kind of, I don't know. Hey, look at Joe Judge. He comes in, he blew Gettleman away, right? Before you know it, he's got a job. So it doesn't mean he was the right guy for the job, but he kind of blew him away. But I'm just kind of, I don't know. I could see like Wink maybe kind of getting a job because Wink's been interviewing, right? He's wanting to be a coach. Kafka wants to be a coach too. But Wink's been around longer. He's had more interviews and everything. He's kind of figures sooner or later Wink's going to get his chance. But with Kafka, it just seems so fast, right? He's on a before you know it, what was it, 2016? He was a graduate assistant, I think it was, at Northwestern. Ever since then, it was 2017 to 2021. He was with the Chiefs, but he was the quarterback coach, and 2021 offensive coordinator, 2022, and they're going to be a head coach in 2023. I don't know. That's a heck of a. I don't know, but a lot of also see like because they let go of Kingsbury. Who had a very good offensive mindset. I guess they kind of went. Well, of course, they lost their starting quarterback, which doesn't help much. But they had a lot of problems this year. Their defense was absolutely horrible. It just goes to show, it's just so unbelievable competitive the way it is. 2021, the Cardinals won 11 games to go to the playoffs, right? Actually, they started off on fire, and then they started tailing off, and then they wound up losing in the playoffs. But they had a very respectable 2021 season. So you thought they would do good this year, but this year they did absolutely horrible. I think they have the third pick overall. They just had a very bad season. But it just goes to show you. 1 year you're in the playoffs, next year you have a bad year and you're fired. But I think a lot of what it seems teams are trying to do, they're trying to catch the lightning in the bottle or whatever you want to call it. Like the new young guy coming up. Like the Shanahan or the McVay, right? Somebody like that. So with the new, offensive mind, get them young, get that, it seems like that's the way it seems to be going now. Instead of like, to some extent, obviously not a lot, but you see some young guys getting coaching jobs, young, instead of like guys working their way up through the ranks and, being in their 40s and 50s or whatever like that, and getting their first head coaching job and earning their way and all of that. And, it seems like a lot of teams are, it doesn't mean he's getting the job, but just to get a second interview, that's certainly saying something, well, obviously it's not, it's all Kafka, right? I mean, because you got Dable, obviously, a majority of the offense is designed around what his knowledge and everything from Buffalo, but I'm sure Kafka has a little bit of the flavor in there, right? But let's see. It says Kafka was part of an offensive brain trust that designed and implemented a more modern offensive, you could say that again, system that brought out the best in several players, absolutely, including quarterback Daniel Jones, without question. Running back Saquon Barkley, and help receivers Richie James, Darius Slayton, and Isaiah Hodgins have career seasons. Well, I don't know about Darius Slayton having a career season, but I mean, he's once again for the third time, right? We went over the 700-yard mark, right? He had a couple drops there. He had some little struggles, but once again, I mean, he's had 3 out of 4 years, Darius Slayton, where he had over 700 yards receiving, and this was once again one of them. All right, but Richie James had a very good season. Richie James led the team in receptions. Isaiah Hodgins would have probably led the teams in receptions, but he only played in 8 games. I think he started 3, he only played in 8. Came halfway through the season, right? So I mean, so for him, Hodgins had a very good year, very, very good year. And I said the Giants' offense improved significantly from a year ago, finishing 18th in total average yards per game. Okay, so right in the middle of the pack they finished, all right, which was up from the 31st last year with the clapper, Jason Garrett calling plays, right? This year they were 4th in rushing, okay, which is huge because, I mean, there's some, at times there's somewhat little porous offensive line we've had. The practice squad type players, sometimes you might want to call them, that we had as far as wide receivers out there. Our top bunch of guys who either got traded, sat the bench, or got hurt, right? So, I mean, for us to go, the other teams, realizing that we don't have the greatest talent in the world as far as a passing game, they can kind of like maybe load the box up a little bit or keep an eye maybe more on the run. But we finished 4th in rushing, up from 24th. 4th. I mean, I get a lot of it. It's not a pure running game because you have Daniel Jones lead, kind of, gained a lot of yards. Okay. But with a healthy Saquon and Daniel Jones, I mean, we were 4th in rushing. Very impressive. All right. Which was up from 24th. They were 26th in passing, which is up from 31st. Okay. And then you figure, like, when they were 31st in passing, right? They had Kenny Golladay in there all the time. Darius Slayton. You had Sterling Shepard, who didn't get injured until the end of the season, right? So you had Sterling Shepard in there. You had Kadarius Toney in there. You had Kenny Golladay in there. You had Kyle Rudolph in there. You had Evan. You had John Ross. You had all these freaking guys in there, right? And we wound up 31st in passing. I mean, now we had all those guys. A lot of those guys were either gone, traded, sat the pine, or got injured, and we got better in passing offense. Same quarterback, right? Go figure, right? Go figure. We were tied in 7th in average first downs per game. 7th. Very impressive, which is once again up from 31st. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable how freaking pathetic the Giants offense was with all that talent. Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, right? Kenny Golladay, Saquon Barkley, Kyle Rudolph, right? John Ross, we had Evan. I mean, all the talent. And we wound up 31st in first downs per game last year. This year, we wound up 11th in time of possession, which is up from 27th. So 11th, which is huge, absolutely huge. You keep the ball, unless you're throwing pick sixes, right? Or you're fumbling the ball and the other team's running it back for a touchdown, right? You can't give up too many points when you have the ball. I mean, for the most part, as I said, once again, if you throw a pick six, I get it. But for the most part, right? When you got the ball, the other team ain't scoring points. And, the lack of wide receiver power that we had. I said that there's sometimes the poorest offensive line play we had, to be 11th in time of possession. Wow. And just imagine if we were able to have a number one wide receiver, right? Or maybe beef up the offensive line a little bit more, right? That time of possession come down even more. Whew, man. And it was 7th in the red zone, and they were 32nd in red zone last year with the clapper, right? This year we were 7th. So not only when we got to the red zone, we actually found ways of scoring touchdowns in the red zone, which is huge. And then if worse comes to worse, I think we had a couple little, we had Daniel Jones threw that back shoulder fade against the Tennessee Titans in week 1. That was a field goal taken off the board. Daniel Bellinger fumbled the ball, right? Let's see, against the Vikings. Daniel Jones threw a ball. Patrick Peterson stepped in front of the pass, picked it off, right? But other than that, for the most part, when we got inside, the red zone, right? We either scored a touchdown or, Mr. Automatic Graham Gano kicked the field goal, right? So it was huge, absolutely huge. But it's just nice to see because, a lot of times, it's just settling for field goals all the time, Nice to see that we get into the red zone. We were actually able to score some touchdowns, which was huge, really, really huge, right? So there's some guys out there, okay. I said Lou Anarumo, right? He's coming back. He's going to be getting another talk from the Cardinals, okay. As I said, he's been the defensive coordinator for the Bengals from 2019 to the present, all right. So he's done a very, very good job. Let's see, Anarumo. He's been around. Let's see. He was with Miami Dolphins. He was the defensive back coach since 2012. So Anarumo's got a little more experience than Kafka does. So just because Kafka has a second interview certainly does not mean he's getting a job. All right, but what it does say is that if he stays on this same path, shall we say, success, right? As far as calling plays and everything like that, there's a good chance that he just might wind up with getting a head coaching job. All right. Now the thing is that a lot of who might replace him? Well, one of the things might be, is that sometimes what they do, is when, like, say the offensive coordinator on a team, okay, goes and gets a head coaching job or defensive coordinator or whatever. What they do sometimes they try to take some guys with them. So that possibly might, is something he might want to take maybe Shea Tierney with him, our quarterback coach with him. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know who else on our own squad. We got Andy Bischoff, the tight end coach, very good coach. I don't know if he's an offensive coordinator. Mike Groh, the wide receiver coach. Obviously with the guys that we had, the job that they did. Mike Groh did a phenomenal job this year for the Giants. DeAndre Smith, the running back coach. All right. We got Christian Jones, offensive assistant. I don't know. Tony Sperano, the assistant offensive line coach, he wouldn't be. And then you got Bobby Johnson, our offensive line coach. So, I don't know if there's anybody, I said, other than Shea Tierney. All right. I don't know if there's anybody on our roster that Daboll would want to use. If Kafka were to go, okay. I don't know if there's somebody on a roster who we, want to have in there that we can elevate, okay, to be the offensive coordinator. Yeah. So we might have, if, and once again, this is if. He's just getting a second interview, so it doesn't mean he has the job. He's got other guys there he's going to be battling out with. So it doesn't mean he's going to get, and I said, once again, it just seems a little quick. One time you're a quarterback coach, and next year you're an offensive coordinator, boom, you're a head coach. It's like, I don't know. But Kafka's a smart dude, right? He came from Northwestern, and he was a former quarterback. He spent quite a few years under Andy Reid. Smart guy, right? This year he was calling plays. He did very successful this year. So it's just, unfortunately, just a matter of time. If he doesn't get it this year, there's a good chance, just a matter of time before Kafka does get himself coordinator. Head coaching job. All right, but there's, it's kind of like who might wind up, as I said Shea Tierney. I saw an article. They said they showed there's 5 guys that they have offensive coordinators that the Giants could wind up using. I mean, one of them is in this article. The article's a little old. It's like, because they got Frank Reich, who's now the coach of the Carolina Panthers, in this article saying, yeah, Frank Reich could replace Mike Kafka, which I'll tell you what, which would be a hell of a pick. But, we ain't getting Frank Reich. But one of the guys they said was the 49ers offensive passing game coordinator, Bobby Slowick. San Francisco passing game coordinator Bobby Slowick may be the next big thing to take over the NFL. He's also set to be the latest member of the long-established Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. With Slowick leading the 49ers passing game this season, the unit has looked elite. And I mean, this is something you got to really put into perspective here. I mean, he took those guys, okay, but he's the passing game coordinator, all right? But you got to have a passing game, right, took him to the championship game with a third-string quarterback, okay? A third-string quarterback. 3 different quarterbacks throughout the season. I mean, Trey, you got to forgive my stupidity. I don't remember how long Trey Lance even lasted this season, but I mean, you got Jimmy J, right? And then you got Purdy was in there, and Purdy hadn't lost a game, except if you want to call, I guess, the championship game. But leading up to the championship game, he hadn't lost a game. I mean, he had a phenomenal season. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. It doesn't hurt either, okay, the talent the 49ers have. The talent, I wish the Giants had, the Skittle man at tight end. I mean, come on. Ayuk, they got some phenomenal. And Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey is all, you look at kind of like, as a running back and all, but McCaffrey is just like, he's like really something like a special breed. I mean, you can almost like maybe line him up outside. I mean, it's just a little more than just like getting dump offs out of the backfield for McCaffrey. I mean, you can have him run pass patterns, dump offs out of the, I mean, just to be able to coordinate all of that with a third string quarterback, okay, and to get him to the freaking championship game is absolutely phenomenal. All right. And the thing is, he's the passing game coordinator. So he's not like the offensive coordinator or anything like that. Okay. So, yeah, he's somebody to keep an eye on. All right. Let's see. Well, it says Shanahan and the 49ers don't have an offensive coordinator. Instead, they have 2 game coordinators. Okay. And Slowick handles the duties through the air. With the schemes that has been established, the 49ers have produced 5 pass catchers with more than 400 yards this season. Includes running back Christian McCaffrey, who didn't even play the whole season there with him, right? Slowick has spent the last decade earning knowledge on different NFL teams based on what he was shown so far. He seems well equipped to take over as a full-time offensive coordinator, right? With the talent the Giants have on their team, specifically in the quarterback-running back duo, Slowick could be a great option to lead this unit. But, I mean, as I said also, I mean, the 49ers have some really, really, good talent on, I mean, as I said, I wish the Giants had like the talent that they have. I mean, wow. Then there's the quarterback coach from Buffalo, Joe Brady, okay? So, I mean, obviously would, Shane and Dable would be familiar with him. Current Buffalo Bill quarterback coach Joe Brady has already been an offensive coordinator in the NFL. He spent 2 seasons as Carolina Panthers offensive coordinator before being fired prior to the end of the 2021 campaign. While Brady did not last in Carolina, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have a great football mind. During his time at LSU, he played a crucial role in their record-breaking offense. With him serving as their passing game coordinator in 2019, the team scored at least 40 points in 12 of their 15 games. Following his 2 seasons in Carolina, Brady joined the Bills as their quarterback coach. With him in the room, Josh Allen has once again put together an MVP caliber season. Yeah, well, I mean, he turned the ball over a lot. All right. At just 33 years old, though, Brady still has a long future ahead of him. He's only 33 years old. With the amount of talent that the Giants have on the offense, Brady could keep this group playing at a high level. With Daboll and general manager Joe Schoen having ties to the Buffalo, right? Brady could be an obvious choice. He most definitely be a name to watch if Kafka decides to take a different job, right? Then they got this next guy, obviously, would be Shea Tierney. But, I mean, the thing is, sometimes guys want to take guys with them. The only thing here, I mean, was Shea Tierney is the quarterback coach. He would wind up becoming an offensive coordinator. And, would he follow if Kafka were to get the job? Would Tierney want to follow Kafka to the Cardinals to become the offensive coordinator, or would he want to stay in, keep working with his relationship with Daboll, the Giants, Daniel Jones, and so on, right? It says here the Giants could very well choose to look internally here with current quarterback coach Shea Tierney. They already have their guy. Tierney, who is currently in his first season with the Giants, was handpicked by Daboll to join his team. So, I mean, he didn't come with the Giants, right? He got picked by Daboll, right? Now, Daboll picked him for a reason, right? So, obviously, Shea Tierney did a very good job this year, especially, obviously you see what Daniel Jones did, right? So that certainly would be a name to keep on. So we might have an in-house, right? Shea Tierney. I don't know who the quarterback coach would then wind up being. We get somebody, but two first connected during Daboll's time in Alabama, where Tierney was serving as the offensive analyst. So Daboll's familiar with Tierney, obviously. After just one season together, Daboll brought Tierney along when he headed to Buffalo. In their time together, Tierney had served as both the offensive assistant and quarterback coach under Daboll. Okay. And he has found success in every campaign. During his 2 seasons at Alabama, Tierney was part of the 2 explosive offenses. The 2016, Jalen Hurts threw for 2,780 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. On the ground, he added 954 rushing yards and another 13 touchdowns. The following season, in 2017, when Tierney was there in Alabama, Tierney became the quarterback coach. Alabama sent off both Hurts and Tua, right? They combined for 2,717 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, and just 11 interceptions. On the ground, the two also added 10 touchdowns. While at Buffalo, Tierney has also found success within the Bills quarterback room. Between the history that he has with Daboll and his already established connections on the team, he could be a great option to step in as offensive coordinator. So, I mean, that would be a really good, I would definitely think, if he were not to go. Okay, once again, if Kafka would get the job, would Kafka maybe try to take like Shea Tierney with him? Be interesting to see. Then the last one I got here is former Bucs offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, who was let go after they had a rather down season. Let's see, Byron Leftwich has a Super Bowl ring to his name. Following a down season with the Buccaneers, he now finds himself without a job. Following a 10-year NFL career, Leftwich opted to head down the coaching path. After spending the 2016 season as an intern for the Cardinals, he quickly stepped into a coaching role. Right. So obviously it doesn't hurt to have Tom Brady, right, as your quarterback. Let's see here. The past season, as the Bucs struggled on the field, the Leftwich offense didn't produce as their usual rate. They finished 25th in points per game and 15th in yards per game. On the ground, they finished last in rushing attempts, yards, and touchdowns. Their rushing game was absolutely pathetic this year. Through the air, they once again looked reliable, finishing second in yards and 12th in touchdowns. So, but I guess if you got Tom Brady standing back there, throwing the ball 95% of the time, I guess you're going to finish. You'll have some passing yards. Yeah, absolutely. But their rushing attack was absolutely horrible this year. So that's another name to keep an eye on. I'm sure he'll wind up with a job sooner. Somebody wind up picking him up. He's got too much knowledge, going on there. But Shea Tierney might be certainly the name to if Kafka were to. I think, as I said, it seems like it'd just be so quick. I mean, so I mean, unless they just like what Judge did. Judge came in there and wowed Gettleman. Yeah, worked out real well. But I mean, as I said, one time he's just a quarterback coach. The next play, he's calling plays, and then before you know it, the next year he's a head coach of a team. Wow. I mean, I don't know. It really seems quick. I could see Wink getting a job before Kafka would, but I mean, it just seems like there's a good chance, like no matter what, the clock is ticking on Kafka's time here with the Giants. It just seems like sooner or later, he'll get a job someplace, and good for him, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, you work your way up through the ranks, and if you want to become a coach, right? I mean, there's only 32 positions, so there's a lot more guys out there looking to become coaches than actually do become coaches. So, I said, just because he's getting a second interview does not mean he's getting a job. But if he were to, I would look for, especially the connection that they have together. All right, possibly Dable and Shea Tierney, right? Maybe moving Shea Tierney up, okay, to be an offensive coordinator. Then the interesting thing, which there's a ton of guys out there, right, who would be the quarterback coach, who would take over for Shea Tierney. I'm sure Dable's, yeah. They got to have their Rolodex, right? They got to have guys in mind, right? You just don't, I mean, he's got so much on his plate, and it's between Shane and Dable and all those guys, you know what I mean? But you don't get caught blindsided by this stuff. It's not like Kafka leaves, right? And then you got they bring maybe elevate Shea Tierney to be offensive coordinator, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh my God, I forgot, we need a quarterback." Oh, geez, I forgot all about it. Oh man, we need a quarterback. Who should I look for? I mean, it's not like that. I mean, I'm sure he's got to have a Rolodex full, but he's got to have, names. I mean, he's got to have 3, 4, 5 names that he's going to have on speed dial. So soon as he needs, whatever. I mean, he's got to have 3, 4, 5 names or whatever it is for defensive coordinator in case Wink, right? If Wink were to take somebody with him from the Giants staff, just suppose, right? He's got to have a Rolodex of, other coaches. So I mean, it's the same thing with the offense. I mean, so if Kafka does wind up leaving, I said, I'm sure he has plan A. If plan A doesn't roll, I got plan B, I got plan C, I got plan D, I got these 15, or not 15, but I got these 3 or 4 guys, whatever, that I'll call to see if they want to be the quarterback. So yeah, the object is not getting blind. None of these guys getting blindsided by this. I mean, they know what's going on, and everything. So I'm sure, he has a few names up his sleeve, but I mean, look for Shea Tierney. All right, that would be, I think, a real good option for the Giants, especially keep it in-house would really be cool. As I said, if Kafka were to leave, look for Shea Tierney maybe to get elevated, but who would take over as quarterback coach? They'll have to wait and see. But it's been 38 minutes. My goodness, time flies when you're having fun, huh? Somebody gave me a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me. Thank you so much. As always, guys, anybody spent any time at all watching this, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If anybody spends any time watching the replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean the world to me. And as always, guys, you guys stay safe out there. And as always, go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah, baby.